Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Torelli. I'm the chairman of the Orange County Industrial Development Agency. Today is Tuesday, August 2nd, approximately 5:35 p.m. And today we'll be opening up our committee meeting on governance. With that, Bill, would you like to call the roll, please?
Yes. Michael Torelli.
Present.
Dean Tamburri.
Present.
Vincent Odock is not present. James Rinaldi.
Present.
Susan Walsky is not present as well. Myself, Bill Fioravanti, CEO of the IDA, is present. Dennis Brady, our audio video consultant, is here. Mr. Chairman, would you want to say the pledge before we?
Yep.
Okay. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Chairman, if I can, I'll just jump right in here.
Please go.
First two items are requests for proposals that I drafted in consulting with our attorney, General Counsel Susan Katzoff, and staff, of course. For two, as you know, we've been re-procuring everything here at the IDA very intentionally, because we want the public to know and every other stakeholder to know how we came about selecting various groups to be consultants of ours or work with us in various capacities. We've done an awful lot of that, including our general counsel. At the end of this meeting, I'd like to talk about bond counsel, follow up that conversation from our last governance meeting. We'll likely go into executive session, there's some sensitivity around that as a personnel issue. But before that, we're also looking to re-procure our services for our annual fiscal audit and for marketing and PR. Both of those, you know, we talked about a bit. Audit, we've had JGS, otherwise known as Jelson, Giordano, and Siegel, perform our audit for several years in a row, over a decade. They've done a good job for sure, but it's just been advised to us that it's good practice to re-procure. Again, it's in the spirit of what we're trying to do here, really, in this new administration of openness and you know, following the proper process. So I've developed this. I did consult with RBT, who is our, you know, for lack of a better term, our CFO kind of for hire, just to make sure that I had the right details, because there is, I'll say legalese, but the right kind of language needed to be in here. So I did consult with them and got some support on it. But it's pretty standard as you look through it, in terms of the services we need, the timing, the process through which we would decide based upon the criteria. It's all in there and laid out. We're asking for 3 hard copies of proposals to be shared with us. I've reduced that amount because I don't think we need 12 hard copies. It's a lot of work for someone to waste the trees. And I'm sharing, as you know, most of this information electronically with you. So we want a couple hard copies for us to have in person to review and to bring to the meeting as needed, like I brought with the bond council finalists in front of you. So that's always we've requested. And just to be clear, that the term of this would be 2 years because of, again, advised by RBT and consultation with Sue Katzoff as well, for some continuity. There's a lot of work that goes in when a new firm comes in and takes over an audit. So that we know we're going to have a little disruption there. We know they're going to ask a lot of questions. We're going to have to lean on JGS if it's not them again, for some background and some historical information. But it makes sense to have whatever firm wins the RFP to do 2 years, and then us to consider either keeping them or going back out to RFP again. So that is something else of note. Yeah, after 1 year is completed, it's subject to annual review, performance, appropriation, and approval again by the agency board of directors. So, and again, the criteria for selecting is in there. And another inclusion here that I was advised to add is a certification of non-collusion. Both of the RFPs that I'm presenting to you tonight have that, which really, they have to attest that they didn't talk to another applicant, another respondent to the RFP, that there's no collusion in that sense. So I like having that in there as we include our board members sign similar certificates of independence and such. So I definitely agree that that was good to include. So that's the audit RFP. Take any questions you may have there.
So with that, normal course of business would be the committee would recommend it to go to the full board for review and approval?
Correct. Right. That's what I'm looking for is this committee. which is made up of yourself, Mr. Torelli, Mr. Camberry, and Dr. Odak. Dr. Odak could not be here this evening, so one of you would propose that, make a motion, and both of you would vote. If we have 2 votes, which is is a majority of the committee size, it would go to the board for review and approval, as you said.
To go to be issued out there.
Correct. Just to be issued. And as you note the date, I have it highlighted in case you want to change them, but I'm looking to put these out the day after the board meeting if they get approved, and then give each, in each RFP, give the respondents 4 weeks basically to respond. We want quick turnaround. Someone's going to come in and do our 2021 audit. They've got a 2022 audit. They've got to get moving. So this is urgent. Marketing PR, I've had it on a shelf for a little bit. It's time to get moving on that as well.
We'll talk about this one. Any
Sure.
questions?
The only thing I was gonna ask is that, how does it get posted that everyone's gonna see this? Or is that- how does that-
Yeah, so it goes on our website. We do a press release, put it out to if there's, media channels in that regard. We beefed up our media list, by the way, over the last few press releases, gaining more media channels that we can access. And I frankly would send it to every firm that we know in the area, and we know many of them. So, the prominent firms that can handle this, that have expertise, we know who they are. I'm gonna make sure no one gets left out in that regard. Personally sending it to them.
Yeah, I also believe that the time frame you have may seem like it's a little type of, this is the work these people do. So they understand exactly what you're looking
I think a lot of their stuff is boilerplate. Clearly, they know their sensitivity around the IDA, the history, complexity. They've got to pay some attention to it and give us specific responses, but for the most part, it's what they do.
Not easy, but pretty
Standard, sure.
Okay. With that, I'll accept the motion to present it to the full board for approval.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All those in favor? Aye. Jim, any questions?
Can I say aye?
You can say it, but it's really.
Doesn't mean,
There you go. Exactly. So, okay, motion, second. Right. Second one is marketing and PR. As you know, when you approved the 2022 budget, it had a marketing line item in there of $48,000. We spent very little of that because we really want to operate under a comprehensive plan for marketing and public relations. We've been procuring a lot of other things, and we've been very busy, thankfully, with new applications. So this was on the back burner a little bit, but I didn't want to wait any longer. We have a number of goals that I want to see us meet through marketing and PR efforts. And I'm going to go through specifically and read it because it's not as standard. And I'm happy, of course, with your input to change any of these, add to these, but these are our stated objectives. One is to demonstrate and promote the IDA or OCFC's transparency and openness. I want to make sure that that's clear in everything that we do. And the way we communicate with the public certainly plays into that. I want to promote awareness of and build understanding of the IDA and OCFC in the local community. So make sure that people locally understand, know who we are and what we do, why we do it. We also want to do some marketing, like attraction marketing, trying to bring applicants to us so that we can land expansion and attraction projects. So we want to market our services, our incentives and offerings locally for expansion opportunities. Any local companies that are expanding, so they know they can come to us and apply for incentives to support their expansion, and to market outside of our general area here, the home base, probably outside Orange County, but within even the Mid-Hudson, because there are some firms that want to move. We're not trying to cannibalize from our neighbors, but so I'd say the Mid-Hudson and beyond, so that again we can market to potential attraction opportunities. Another goal: dispel myths and highlight positive impacts of IDAs and incentives to the public, municipal leaders, and key stakeholders. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but there's a lot of information and disinformation out there about IDAs. There's a lot of, I think there's far more misunderstanding of IDAs and incentives than there is understanding. And I'd like us to deliberately, intentionally, strategically play our role in educating the public to that. It's going to be an uphill battle, no doubt about it, but I think it's important that we do. And I've also mentioned to you that we've had regional IDA meetings with our colleagues from Dutchess, Ulster, Westchester, et cetera, Sullivan. We have another one coming up next week that we're hosting at the Orange County IDA. I've already broached the subject of trying to partner with them in ways on that same objective of trying to educate constituents in the region about, again, separate the myths from the truths about IDA. So that's in there as well. Show IDA, OCFC as thought leaders driving local economic development. That just means with things like the Shovel Ready Initiative and other things we'll do in the future, where we're positioned where people understand that we know what we're doing, we're strategic about it, we're looking at the future for what's best for Orange County. We have Orange County's best interests in residents and businesses' needs really at the forefront, and be able to demonstrate that again through our communications efforts. Last couple, maintain constructive communication around the closing of the IDA accelerator programs. I don't mean this to be damage control, because it is what it is. And I think we all know we're doing what is right, what has to be done here, in lieu of what or in response to what happened there. But there's some sensitivity around that, so I just wanted to include that so that we could get some support around just how we communicate around that subject, because there could be sensitivity to it. We understand that people are hurt by that or whatever. And lastly, rebrand and redevelop digital media and printed collateral as needed. We have some beautiful stuff. We've had to pull out pages because of pictures and people that were included in it. So we're using it now, but it's not, really exactly what we need. But to me, it wasn't a top priority. We're getting busy without that. But I do want to see us have up-to-date and effective marketing materials and collateral and such, and digital media as well. So if some rebranding, and I don't need to get too serious with that, we're still going to be Orange County IDA and OCFC, but if there's some things that a firm suggests we do to maybe change the connotation around some of our programs or history, is that we're open to that. So I did want to share that. And scope of services, I've asked in this proposal in RFP for firms to respond with a plan to utilize $60,000 of marketing budget. Again, our 2022 budget was $48,000. I just want to see what they respond with this. If we have to pare it down to that in the end, then we will. But there may be an opportunity that we didn't use it all in 2022. Take some of that with a similar size budget for next year, and we could meet most of our goals, I think. So again, even if they respond with a plan for 60 grand and the board decides that we're going to stick to 48 or less, we'll pare that down. But I'd like to see a proposal from them that includes a plan to utilize that money. How would you spend it? And I suggest a number of typical elements: market data research, copywriting for news articles, web content, press releases, website management, digital marketing, which includes e-blasts and things like that, social media, of course, where I'd like to focus on LinkedIn, which is really for businesses, as well as Facebook. I think connecting with the community and our local constituents, I think Facebook is still a great tool for that. Also, live presentations like I've been doing all along since you hired me, media relations support, community and stakeholder relations support, branding, graphic design, and collateral, as I just referred to, and video and audio. A marketing firm may come back and say, if you want to educate the public about pilots, we suggest doing a short video. Any of that kind of AV work that is not related to what 88 Studios does to support our meetings, our live meetings, that would be in this as well. And lastly, coordination with local and regional partners in economic development. Just want to make sure that they know that those are some of the approaches that we take. And again, I want to work regionally on some of these efforts, but generally this is going to be about the OCIDA and the OCFC and how we put ourselves out there. So this too, Dean, in response to your question before, this will go out the same way. Be a press release, go to all our media contacts. We will, I didn't mention this before, but as we've done with Shovel Ready and others, we will probably put something like this through the Orange County Partnership. So since they touch a lot of the people that are in our same world. And again, all the marketing and PR firms that I know of in the region, not just in Orange County, but in the general area, I'm going to make sure they personally have it. I know this board tends to like to stay local and buy and procure services from Orange County based firms, or at least firms with a real presence here. But I would like, there are enough quality firms in the region that I would like to get their proposals and have you consider those if they do respond. If there's anything else in here, some of the same
Length of
terms.
term?
This would be for 1 year
So 1 year from the date of.
when it begins, the contract begins. I'm thinking, let's say September to end of August of 2023. And we could look to re-engage the firm that we select without going to RFP again, or we can go to another RFP. We got it all together and such. We can do that easily.
I think in this, that may be better because we don't know where our budget's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? It might be successful, you might say add more to that budget for this because it was working out well, or you might want to scale it back
and they don't know, they may not know from year to year what that budget will be. Unless we're gonna go advance with the budget, and we secure.
Sure, and I do hope, those are good points, and I do hope that whatever firm we select really looks to influence us on budget, because they may say, look, to achieve your goals, we really think you need more. Now, I may respond, or we may respond and say, this is what you have to work with, so do your best, and we see what the results are, but I do think we have to take that into consideration. If they say, look, we've done this before, we've done this for our IDAs or whatever other, generally public authorities is what we're looking for, people have experience with that. But if they say this is really what you should be doing, well, we'll consider it. That's what we're looking for, is their expertise and experiences here.
In this RFP, which the costs of doing stuff, whether it's print material or stuff, would that be borne by this contract, or would it be borne like in addition to this contract?
I am positioning this where the $48,000, or in this case, that's the $60,000, plan we're asking for.
Yeah, but you gotta give them a scope, you gotta give them
Exactly.
like a mosaic.
Exactly, that's exactly what we're trying to do. They're not write it for them, but tell them here's kind of what we're thinking, and certainly what our goals are, I want to make clear.
So those additional expenses would be,
Yeah, it would be part of that
so
$60,000.
they would pay and we would just reimburse them.
What it does not include, and I try to be specific with this, again, AV services related to running our meetings and broadcasting our meetings, but it also does not include website redevelopment. Now, you look at our website, you may think, as I do, that it's got a nice, clean, up-to-date look, but 88 Studios, who's been managing the website for quite some time and have redeveloped parts of it and everything, they came to us a couple of months ago saying it is so data heavy in the way it's built on older and older systems that it really needs to be kind of re-engineered to a degree.
Or something we'll think about.
Exactly. That's separate. I would rather,
And there's certain requirements that we have to do stuff on our
Yes.
website that has, so yeah, that's
to
separate.
me, that's a whole project, and that money, the cost of that is not in this budget. I think it's something else I would come to the board with, but, I want to make sure I have a full handle on it if I feel confident that the board needs to consider doing that. But that's separate from this
Well,
altogether.
the reason why I ask is we don't want to hire somebody and then every month we go, oh, well, here's 4 more bills we got.
Right.
And it's, here's 6, we got a $15 bill for printing, we got a $20 bill for putting something in, we don't want that. Let it be all inclusive so that, we just pay it as its front position.
Agreed, and we make it very clear that that 60,000 budget, that includes whatever they would charge us. So
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah,
inclusive,
their labor, their profit,
correct.
their charges.
There's a special project, again, I have marketing collateral, I do have that in there. But that is a big ticket item, and I think we could spend more money. The year we do that, maybe more money is allotted to that, or we're shortchanging other areas, but that, we're not doing it again for a number of years. So that frees up a little more budget room to be able to spend it on, aggressive email marketing, maybe direct mail marketing campaign, something like that. But I do have that, again, to be any collateral that we would print, that would be in the $60,000 figure. That's what I expect to have that included in the proposal.
So a couple of things I had written down. So, and when you had said, updating items, whatever, are we currently, they may need, or should we be, taking some more additional pictures, and we have not had anybody, like some of the projects that are ongoing now,
Definitely.
get some information, and that may even be something separate, so let's better hire somebody and get them out there and start doing some of that, or if we can wait until then, I don't know, but there may be something going on now that we really want to capture, and then they could utilize.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
A
but-
successful project program
No
that
question.
highlights stuff, whether it's on the website or in a separate standalone place. So people say, hey, look, this is what this is all the successes of our,
Absolutely.
that got made.
So maybe a stage in construction or
Yeah.
something, or one of the meetings or whatever that we really wanted to capture, we don't have it right now.
Exactly.
So maybe something separate.
It's a real shortfall right now.
Right.
I absolutely admit that. I think we're not paying a lot of attention to social media and things like that. And even a newsletter, I think we could do where we're doing that. We're tooting our own horn. We're talking about the positive, positive.
And I really like the stuff that was done for one of the Warwick projects that showed all the local contractors. that were hired.
That's a-
That is something that should be highlighted on every project.
Right.
That hits home. I mean, your friends, your neighbors, people that are working there, not only working there for the actual business, but who are working there to construct the business.
That was an impressive list for that.
That was an impressive
It was-
list, and it was the first time I've seen that. I haven't seen it since, or
Yeah.
I haven't seen it on any other IDA or economic development projects, and I think it's something that, and you can even go a step further with the suppliers. that are local, that have won contracts or that have produced a product that goes to a thing. I mean, this is all economic spin-off 101, and it's all creates a positive story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
we
you-
definitely need to do more of that.
People are visual. If
Yeah,
you
they are
get-
visual, yeah.
You get a picture in the paper, all the local papers of, not every month, but picture the project, picture the people, and then people are gonna see that.
Yeah.
And if they have the big on top IDA,
Yeah,
it's eventually gonna,
they're gonna recognize that, oh, wow, that happened because of that? Yeah,
but now there's nothing, so,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
need to
yeah,
get it out there.
Well,
That was-
actually, that's on my, kind of my next question is like, so they come up with a marketing, different things, whatever, and then how does that go for like the board, or they say they put in their budget and all of a sudden they, crazy example, there's a billboard on 17 IDA, whatever, Mike goes by and says like, what, you guys spent money on that? What do you guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do we, do we, not saying we also stand over the top of them and they say, I want to put an article, and I don't know if it's a good idea, should we talk about it, wait for a meeting? But something like that, I don't know how that works either, that, we're not out there and they're doing something that we may or may not, agree on how it's being perceived.
Sure.
Right? It's a
yeah,
very-
I think we have to reserve approval,
Yeah,
with
Some
we or
capacity, but
staff
not-
or a combination of both,
Yeah,
you're right, we don't want to have something out there that, whether it's a picture that we don't like, I mean,
I don't know,
Like,
they're the professionals.
so
too,
imagine
but-
they do a picture, and they'll be
Yeah.
professionals, but say they do a picture and it's something that we don't want a picture of, maybe it's the guy in the time, we forgot to put his heart in.
Happens all the
You know,
time.
happens all the time, you don't want that, you don't want it to show that it's an, you want to make sure that it's up to it's up to standard also.
I have it in here that they would be presenting to
I
the board,
understand,
so I
and
think I
that's
kind of
down the
expected to
road.
manage that
Yeah.
as best possible, but they have to come before you, so I think we'll work that process out, and when they.
Committee,
do,
board,
before we-
whatever.
Exactly,
And that may be in the actual contract after this,
Right.
so some of those items are not.
and, yeah, maybe through committee, we start that or something, we'll figure
Yeah,
out.
we'll
how that
figure it
goes. And we get through smart feet, maybe it's something we do in governance.
Shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, yes, we do, okay. And I'm gonna add photography to that list of the developments. I actually don't have that in there. I have copywriting, because we need writing, but taking pictures too. We do some on our own, but I'm not doing enough, so that would be great. I will include that,
And
actually.
we currently don't have a Facebook page, correct?
We do, and minimally, once in a while, we'll add something to it.
And that's a lot of work on its own, that's only because a lot of times, if you, some business, I don't want to try to stay away from it, you're like, why would you stay away from it? Because if there's negative on there, you try to want to respond, next, that's all you're doing is going back and forth. And.
And Facebook measures how quickly you respond and all that, so I don't want to do it full force until I know we have the capacity to do it. And right now, Kelly and I don't, so even before a marketing person, when we have an admin, then that, maybe a little more room to do that, but I'm someone that likes to operate under a plan, and we have a comprehensive plan, here are our goals, what we're trying to accomplish, and here are the ways we're gonna get there, and that fits in, all those fit in there, so that's all I'm looking for, somebody to come with a comprehensive plan to help us achieve our goals, so. But, okay, so we'll figure out that process through which the board has input and oversight, and make sure that, nothing goes ahead that we don't want to see out there. Any other questions on marketing? Yeah. All right, up to you, gentlemen.
Then I'll entertain a motion to accept, I'll entertain a motion to take this proposal to the full board at the next board meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah, I'll second it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Jim, any comments? Okay. Let's go to the board.
Okay, the last item for this evening, unless the committee wants to raise anything else, is follow up on our bond council RFP. Last governance meeting in July, we went over the respondents to our bond council RFP. I believe there were 5. We had a lot of discussion, very frank, candid discussion. We were in executive session because of that. We wanted Susan Katzoff, who's colleagues with many of these applicants, to be able to speak frankly. So we did that. The board, you'll recall, finalized, chose 3 firms to be finalists. That was Hobson, we did put it out, Hobson Russ, Hawkins, Delafield and Wood, and Harris Beach, our current bond counsel. I interviewed at your guidance. I interviewed all 3 of those firms via Zoom with very good, lengthy discussions. And I am ready at the board meeting on the 17th to make a formal recommendation to the board, as you asked me to do, and the board would vote on accepting that or going the other direction. So I'm coming back here to committee to share, to tell you really what my recommendation is. Though I would request, I think it's going to be sensitive discussion as well on personnel, so I just would like you to consider executive session for that discussion.
Okay, before we enter in, any questions? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of talking about the RFP for bond counsel and specifically about personnel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jimmy, good with that?
Very good.
Welcome back, everybody. Mike Torelli, Chairman of the Orange County Industrial Development Agency. Today is August 2nd, approximately 6:31. Just came out of executive session. I'd like to entertain a motion to have Phil make a presentation at the upcoming board meeting on his recommendations for the bond counsel RFP. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Jimmy, good?
I'm good.
You're good. Okay, so that'll go to that. Bill will make his presentation then, and we'll have all the board members listen to it and potentially make a decision at that time. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I seconded it. All right, and with that, look forward to seeing everybody in the future. Thank you. Thanks, Dean.
Thanks.